So I just got word, Tony, that Kenny's best friend's sister's daughter's cousin said that they don't love Arizona.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know they don't love the Arizona Wildcats either. So, yeah.
Does that mean Kenny's leaving? Breaking. Kenny Dillingham, still the coach of Arizona State.
Still the coach of your Arizona State Sun Devils. And welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, presented by Branded Bills. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use that code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by the Deli Man, making all of the deli magic happen behind the Mac. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Ricky in the chat, Ben, the Green M&M, Lee Corso, Ben, she's the Emily, the list goes on and on. For folks ready to talk about the Arizona State Sun Devils, just a quick glance at the menu before we get started today. We're going to be talking ASU hoops at the tail end of today's show. So JJB, I know you're in here somewhere. We will be talking about Mo Odom's Arizona State Sun Devils and their big win over the weekend. We've got an interview for everybody a little bit later on in today's show from one of the newest Arizona State linebackers, Mason Marden, a class of 2026 signee for your Arizona State Sun Devils. So I promise you, we'll get to that a little bit later on. But hopefully, everybody has been paying attention over the weekend to everything going on with the Arizona State Sun Devils. If you didn't, well, pull up a chair, grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's chat. Because all weekend long, all that was on the internet, at least for my social media, was Kenny Dillingham's going to Michigan. Kenny Dillingham in Ann Arbor. Flight from Tempe to Lansing, which for those of you that don't know, Lansing is not Ann Arbor, okay? And still, even after Kenny Dillingham spoke to the media Saturday after practice saying that he loves Arizona State, that the Michigan opening, he hadn't had any conversations to that point in time with anybody from Michigan about their head coaching vacancy. Him saying that it is a great job for somebody. Him saying all of it doesn't change how he feels about Arizona State. There are still folks sending off tweets saying, well, Kenny Dillingham is going to go to Michigan. He didn't say no, right? He didn't say no. He didn't say he's not going. Like Kalen DeBoer at Bama did, putting out a statement say he's not going. There are a couple things that you're going to have to learn in college football, especially now that you have a competent head coach at the helm. If Kenny Dillingham outright says no, I am not leaving, I am not taking the Michigan job, he loses all sort of leverage. He loses anything that he may ask Arizona State for in the contract amendments or in a potential new contract with the Sun Devils. So he's not going to say no outright until he gets what he wants or until that contract is amended or signed, revised, whatever. There is no benefit in Kenny Dillingham's mind to just outright say no, which, if you go back several weeks ago to the other schools that were reportedly interested in Kenny Dillingham, he never said no there either until after he had a meeting with the athletic department, a productive meeting where he felt that, hey, this athletic department is backing football, right? They want to win. They're committed to college football. So here we are just a few weeks later, and I know that might be frustrating for Arizona State fans, not talking about, you know, the way Kalen DeBoer handled it or other coaches, the way that they've handled it, specifically talking about Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham. I can understand why fans would be upset that Kenny Dillingham hasn't outright said no. Shane, correct me if I'm wrong here. It feels like he said everything that he could possibly say to this point in time to still maintain leverage and appease the fan base without just going out there and saying, no, I'm not taking the Michigan job.
Yeah, he said it's going to be a great opportunity for someone. And sure, you can look into that and say someone could still be him. Sure.
Someone could be me.
Yeah, someone could be Toad. That'd be great. Be sweet. But
I'd leave in a heartbeat, by the way.
But I don't know if there's more telling answer than the one where he said Michigan's a great brand, but that doesn't change the fact that my family is here. Like, I don't know, man.
King Neptune in the chat. This guy is on blank. Can't read that. Said, dude is leaving this year next. If he wants to win a natty, he has to leave ASU. Why does he have to leave? I don't know if you know this, King Neptune, but Arizona State was more recently in the college football playoff than Michigan was, right? You can do all sorts of things in today's era of college athletics. I don't know if you've stopped drooling over your phone this weekend, but if you haven't, maybe check the notifications. Check what's going on in college football. Check all of the quarterbacks at the Power 4 level that are heading into the portal for major schools. DJ Lagway from Florida, Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati, hell, Arizona State's Sam Leavitt. There's a number of big-time quarterbacks hitting the transfer portal. And you know what that means? It means that the power in college football is not what it used to be. It's not you have this set of rosters at these specific programs and these specific teams, and these are the only schools that get to play. This isn't like recess when you were a kid where the one kid that has a football is the only one that gets to pick teams. That's not the case anymore. Everybody has maybe not the same access, maybe not the same resources. You still have a chance to do anything. Again, Arizona State more recently making the college football playoff than Michigan. So to say that he needs to go to Michigan, needs to fly to Ann Arbor and take that hell of a job to all of a sudden do, you know, what one team in college football gets to do every year, I think is ridiculous. And I don't want this whole show today to just be more of like Michigan, Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, because we've addressed it. We've talked about it a number of times. Kenny Dillingham has told you point blank at a number of different occasions, I love Arizona State. I want to be at Arizona State. I want to build at Arizona State. My family's here. It's my dream job. I don't know how many different ways this guy's got to tell you he wants to be at Arizona State for you to actually get that in your head. Now, again, this is not the first time that Kenny Dillingham's name has been tossed around for other jobs. It's not going to be the last time that Kenny Dillingham's name is going to be tossed around for other jobs. Why? Because he's a damn good football coach. He's one of the best coaches in college football. I think he's a top 10 coach in college football. If you look at just what he's done to this program, the shift, the changes in just 3 years. And the excitement, I'll tell you what, is going to be through the roof when you see some of the players and moves that are going to be done in the transfer portal on January 2nd when that baby opens. I promise you the excitement is going to be through the roof. Now, what I do want to talk about is Kenny Dillingham says, I want to be at Arizona State. Does that just mean that he's going to be here for the rest of his life? No. I think it would be kind of ridiculous to 1,000% take him at his word that he's going to be here for the rest of his life, right? And I don't even know if he said that. He's going to be here for the rest of his life. But he wants to be here, right? Until he gets fired. Going back to those several weeks ago when he said, hey, we had a productive conversation with the athletic department. They want to win. They want to back college football. College football is a winner. This is your opportunity. It's an opportunity for Graham Rossini and Arizona State's athletic department to put their money where their mouth is. Because I know that Arizona State's fan base and I know that Arizona State athletics really, really does love the Olympic sports, loves the other sports going on at Arizona State, and that is all fine and well. I think what Molly Miller is doing with Arizona State women's basketball is quite literally something that we have never seen a Sun Devil basketball program do. 12-0 to start the season. I think if you look at what Greg Powers has done with Arizona State men's hockey, it's remarkable to see the growth of that program from where it was just even 5 short years ago. Hell, J.J. Van Niel has Arizona State volleyball as back-to-back Big 12 champs. A win away from being in the Elite Eight. There are plenty of great sports and athletic programs and teams at Arizona State. But one thing in the realm of college athletics that hasn't changed and will never change is that college football is king. College football will always come first. And in today's day and age where now you can actively be out there with money, you can actively be out there with NIL collectives and fundraising and help private equity investments for some programs. Now more than ever, you have to invest an ungodly amount of resources into your college football program if you want to succeed. If you want to win. You have to have resources, you have to have players, and you have to have a damn good ball coach. Arizona State has at least one of those. They got a damn good ball coach in Kenny Dillingham. Again, in year 2, off a 3-9 season. Hell, off back-to-back 3-9 seasons. Took this team in year 1 to the Big 12 and won it. Came a play away from beating Texas in the college football playoff. Even this past year, despite being riddled with injuries, still found a way to go 8-4 and an opportunity to pick up a 9th win in the Sun Bowl at the end of the year. They got the ball coach, and they got the guy and the staff to recruit those good players, the players that it takes to win in college football. Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson, Xavier Alford, Cam Scattaboo. The list goes on and on and on of really good players that this program has either gotten from the portal, like some of the ones I named, or look at a duo like CJ Fight and Keith Abney, which they developed themselves. You can get the players to come here. You got the coach. Now it's time for the resources. It's time for Arizona State to open that checkbook. It's time for Michael Crow to do what he does best, and that is fundraise. That is get big wigs and the people in the 1% to give him money. If you want to be successful in college football, you got to have those 3 things. And I'm not sitting up here telling you that Arizona State hasn't already invested in the program, because they have. I know they've invested in the program. NIL, the money, the facilities that they're trying to take a step forward. You look at the practice facility that Kenny Dillingham and company wanted. That's going to be done here in several years. It's going to take more than that. They gave Kenny Dillingham an extension at the start of the year. We're not even 365 days later. He's earned another one. And this isn't going to change. What did he say on Saturday? This is episode 14 of season 3, something along those lines. Guess what? In today's day and age of college football, you got to win now. And if you don't win now, you're going to move on from your coach. Look at Penn State. Look at that program. They were a win away from being in the national championship in 2024 to the mid-2025 season, and James Franklin is out of a job. Look at some of the programs across college football that are trying to win now. Have to invest. So a new contract for Kenny, contract amendments, more money, maybe not even just for him, because knowing Kenny Dillingham everything that he's asking for in this new contract or the amendments, I guarantee you, without even having seen the contract, knowing that the things that he's asking for aren't just him. For the staff, for the program. This guy wants to build it here, and I guarantee you he's probably walking a thin line. He's probably seeing how much he can ask for. Because Arizona State hasn't had a coach like Kenny Dillingham. They haven't. Let's just be honest. I don't know if they've ever had a coach like Kenny Dillingham. Frank Kush is a legend, the greatest coach in Arizona State history. He's the greatest coach in Arizona State history and was a great coach in wildly different ways than the way Kenny Dillingham is a great coach. Frank Kush was a master motivator. Somebody that was going to push you and your team to your limit. And then he pushed you a little further. Right? It's like how you build muscle in the gym. You don't just lift weights at the same weight, the same reps, and the same sets and expect to get stronger and bigger. You got to go till you fail. Till the weight falls on your chest. And you can't lift it up off yourself. And then you're sore the next day. The muscles rebuild, stronger, better. You go again. You push new weight. That's what Kenny Dillingham's trying to get done. It's what he's trying to do at Arizona State. But you got to push those limits. With Graham Rossini, with the athletic department, with Michael Crow, to be able to get that job done. To be able to actually build something that he's had a vision for probably his whole life at Arizona State. Wes Beasy in the chat says, Dilly puts others before himself. These weird fans are used to the money-hungry, selfish guy, so they can't understand Dilly. It's cool. The ones who matter understand who he is. Absolutely true. I think this has been maybe the most fun with this whole national story of Michigan and Kenny Dillingham. Is seeing these other fan bases like vultures just circling, saying, oh, he didn't say no. Oh, he's crying. That means he leaves. Like, man, it's just who Kenny Dillingham is. And again, does he have everything he needs to win a championship right now at Arizona State? No. Absolutely not. You saw the powers that be that have helped will Texas Tech to where they are. The amount of money, the amount of resources to be able to do that. You look at the blue bloods across college football. You look at the Alabamas. You look at the Ohio States. You look at what they pour into those programs. In as much as you look at some of those other programs around them, because I think that's where this is maybe a little bit of the butting of heads or the issues within getting this contract done, the amendments, the money, the resources, is what I started this whole thing off with. Saying that Arizona State has some really good athletic teams, some really good programs that I know they want to invest in. But when I mention Ohio State, when I mention Texas Tech, when I mention Alabama, regardless of how good their basketball teams may be, how good their hockey teams may be, how good their whatever may be, the only thing people talk about consistently is college football. You want to get those other programs funded? You want to get those other programs the money and the resources that it's going to take for them to be successful? The money that it's going to take to keep J.J. Van Niel here long term? The money that it's going to take to keep Molly Miller here for a long time? You got to win in football. Because football funds everything in college athletics. Everything in college athletics is funded through college football. There may be a few universities across the country that have other revenue sports. You look at probably the ACC. You look at some of those programs, Duke basketball, UNC basketball. You go to the SEC, Kentucky basketball. There are only a handful of other programs not in the college football circle that make their school money. So it's very difficult to start throwing those resources around. And I get, again, we're talking about the big picture that is Arizona State athletics. Hockey, women's basketball, volleyball, men's basketball one day, etc. It starts with football. You got to pour in the resources. Look, I want to get to some comments, and I want to continue this conversation about Arizona State football and having the university finally put its mouth or put its money where its mouth is. We're going to do that, though, on the other side of our first break. Branded bills, get it on your head. No, look, guys, in all seriousness, if you are a Valley sports fan, specifically an Arizona State fan, highly, highly recommend you guys go check out our friends over at Branded Bills. Because if you are looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, Branded Bills, they've got you covered with the best custom headwear in the game. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills, they've got you covered with performance, style, and comfortability, affordability, all of the different things. And while we're talking about all of the different things, why don't we talk about all of the different Arizona State options that Branded Bills has just for Sun Devil hats? I personally have a completely iced out white Branded Bills hat with a white Sparky logo on it. Might be the best ASU hat that I've seen from any company in the game. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use that code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. Now, look, let's get serious here for a second. You got to do your research after an accident or serious injury because the lawyer you hire does matter. And that's, of course, let's face it, after a serious injury, you want to hire an attorney that's focused on your best outcome, not how much money the firm makes. And that's the husband and wife law team. That duo brings hundreds of years of combined trial experience. And look, when it comes to the lawyer that you guys choose, you want someone that's going to fight for you, and you want somebody that maybe is going to be doing it a little bit harder than everybody else. So you guys are going to have an access to an attorney at all times. Never play phone tag trying to speak with your attorney. Call your paralegal, schedule a time with your lawyer, and know that you'll have the support that you need. Again, they are the trial lawyers. If a case needs to go to trial, they are ready. They know their way around a courtroom and what needs to be done to prevail in front of a jury for their clients. If you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Couple comments in the chat. I'm not gonna. There's no really a point to engage with the Michigan fans, right? If you have something new to say as a Michigan fan, I'll absolutely welcome the comment, and I'm happy to rebuttal with you on here. If you have somewhat of an intelligent thought to spew at the screen, and we can kind of go back and forth here. I can't get to a lot of your comments, Short Bus. You know why. Sharon in the chat says, don't abandon hockey, basketball, baseball, volleyball, swim, and golf. Everything else is up for discussion. It's not so much an abandonment is not where I'm going with the investing resources here. But things have to change. And again, you also have to think about the flip side here. Where and again, I do not believe that this is going to happen whatsoever. I'm just throwing this out there to explore an alternative to what it would look like if this other situation took place. Let's say Graham Rossini and Arizona State Athletics, and I don't want to put it fully on Graham Rossini because, again, it's a team, it's a university, it's Michael Crow, it's all sorts of factors here. Let's say they put the value on the other sports because in all honesty, it's football and it's everybody else. That's what it is financially. It's what it has to be at a university that just doesn't have the donor backing as it stands right now to compete with a Texas Tech, right? Financially, tens of millions of extra dollars, right? So you put the investment, hockey, men's basketball, women's basketball, golf, volleyball, etc. Let's say you lose Kenny Dillingham. Again, I don't believe this is going to happen whatsoever. He said he's staying. I'm taking it at his word because he is who he is. Let's say he goes to Michigan, goes somewhere else. In my head, and Shane, correct me if I'm wrong here, if you think maybe I'm being a little dramatic. If you were to lose Kenny Dillingham as your coach, the fan base, first and foremost, would riot.
Yeah.
You would absolutely...
Like, I think physically.
They might. They literally might, given what he's done here in 3 years. And for you to make... That would be ultimately a statement from Graham Rossini and Arizona State saying, we're not serious. The last 3 years were fun. We're not serious about actually winning in college football if you were to lose Kenny Dillingham. So from a fan base perspective, it would be complete uproar, which would be a slap in the face to all the fans that just sold out however many home straight sellouts they've had in 2024 and 2025.
Yep.
Complete and utter chaos from the fan base. Second of all, this program would be set back 2 decades. It would be worse than when Herm left it, in my eyes.
100%.
Because he's taken his staff with him. Which, again, a phenomenal staff, one of the best overall top-to-bottom staffs in all of the Big 12 in college football, in my eyes, again, in just 3 years to get to this point. A mass exodus of players. Mm-hmm. It's going to be wildly difficult to get players to come to Arizona State. There isn't another Kenny Dillingham for this program.
No.
So if you, as an athletic department, don't get it done, which, again, I want to throw it out there as many times as I can, I do not believe that Kenny Dillingham is leaving Arizona State. Not even in the slightest in my mind. But again, the hypothetical here, the devil's advocate to not showing that you are going to win in college football, calling Kenny Dillingham's bluff, ultimately. What it would cost you is a complete and utter meltdown of your football program in the most unserious way possible. It would be embarrassing, Shane.
Yeah, it would tear down all the progress that you've made. The only thing I'll say is, I think in the immediate aftermath, you'd be decimated. You'd be horrible for the next 2-3 years. I will say, I think that this university has realized how important it is to activate that program, and I think they would get more serious than they were before Herm. But yeah, I would. I'm out of here.
Yeah, honestly, same. Because again, it's nice to have the other programs winning. Don't get me wrong. Arizona State, I want to say, won more Big 12 championships than anybody in 2024, than any other team in the Big 12, if I'm not mistaken. And while that's all possible to do right now, when maybe you're not investing an ungodly amount of resources, how many times has Kenny Dillingham said, even as recently on Saturday, saying what it takes to win today could be completely different tomorrow. It could be completely different 3 weeks from now. It could be completely different and will be completely different 3 years from now. And I think Graham Rossini and the athletic department, they are the group that is willing to evolve and change with the times and move 3 steps ahead of everybody else. I think they are. This is the opportunity, though. If there has ever been a time to show that you are committed, no more talking. I don't need Kenny Dillingham doing a press conference a week from now saying that they're committed, that the program is committed to winning and backing college football. Show me. Show me. Make Kenny Dillingham a top 3 paid coach in the conference. Why isn't he? There's no excuse.
I will say, by base salary, he's not, but with all of the incentive things that he can hit, he is.
Yeah, but it's not going to stay that way.
Yeah, but I think the bigger thing with this contract restructure is obviously a higher base pay, but a commitment to NIL, a commitment to that side of things more than the money thing, because the pay you're going to get from any other school is almost marginal. Again, with all of the incentives that he has baked into his contract,
including year over year, as long as ASU goes bowling.
Yep.
They win 6 games. It's an automatic additional year extension on his contract.
Yep.
Because here in Arizona, you can only give state, somebody that works for the state.
Yeah.
You can only give them
5.
a contract of a certain amount of time.
5 years.
5 years. So he's got the additional extension baked in pretty much as long as he can get.
Yeah, as long as he wants to be here.
Yeah. But again, NIL, assistance,
yes.
the players.
That's the number one thing.
The thing that he wants and needs. It's not just a want. Kenny Dillingham's not just walking around saying, I want all of this because I want to show you that I'm the best. That's just not who he is. He genuinely wants to turn this place into the Oregon and the Clemson that he alluded to, at the start of this year? Saying that why can't this program be Clemson? Yep. Why can't this program be Oregon? 2 programs that at a certain time weren't what they are today, but look at them. They're widely considered college football powerhouses year over year, whether it's a down year for Clemson or not. It's just who they are as a program. You think Clemson, you think college football. You think Oregon, you think college football. Those other programs that they have are doing just fine. But it starts with football. And again, Arizona State, I don't know how many times I can reiterate this. They've never had a coach like this.
Nope, nobody in the country's had a coach like this. He's the most unique coach in the country. He was 33, 32 when he got hired here.
He was the youngest coach in college football.
And what he's been able to... There is no reason that you shouldn't find every single bit of resource to commit to this guy. He is the diamond in the rough. He is the shining light in the darkness for this program, and he will continue to be that as long as he's here.
Ralph in the chat, Michigan hasn't had to compete to hire a candidate in 2 years. That's been maybe my favorite part of this, is because, again, I get the Michigan job is what it is. I really do. And you look at some of the other jobs as well in college football that were open this past cycle, LSU, Penn State, Auburn, Florida. You had major jobs. You had major jobs open. And look at the college coaches that didn't move, that stayed put. The Kenny Dillinghams, the Dan Lannings, the Kurt Signettis. The coaches that, if you look across college football 10 years ago, yeah, you look at those guys and you're like, those are the front runners to land every major job. 10 years ago, the guy from James Madison doesn't go to where? Florida, wherever he's at, or the Tulane guy doesn't go to Florida, right? You don't get the Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU because he's already at a blue blood program. I think in today's day and age, again, with NIL, the transfer portal, everything, everybody's window of success is so volatile. It changes. 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, 4 years. Just because you have the money, right, at Michigan to pay somebody a ton of X, Y, and Z, it doesn't really mean all that much. In all honesty, and think about it, right, as people who, I'm assuming there's nobody in the chat that makes this kind of money, but if someone's offering you and they're giving you $9 million a year and you're where you want to be and you genuinely believe that you can build what you want to believe here.
Yeah.
What is $6 more million a year? Honestly, honest to God.
Well, that's why I think that the money thing, the money conversation isn't about salary. It's about backing from NIL. And as you said before, I think that's probably what a lot of the contract restructuring is a commitment to NIL.
And the players.
Yeah.
Everybody in this program, Kenny Dillingham is looking out for. And I think he alluded to that a little bit in his Saturday availability, saying it's up to me to look out for not just Kenny Dillingham, but groups of people, to take care of groups of people. That's him alluding to some things. Okay? Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Again, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. We got Shimon Mateer in the chat saying Kenny is the greatest. I mean, just take it from Shimon. Somebody that transferred to Arizona State. had been to a couple other universities, a couple other schools to play college football. To now, Shaman, I think, was in the chat a couple weeks ago saying, yeah, when I'm done, I want to come back and be a coach at Arizona State. It's the culture. It's what Kenny builds. He's a builder. You know how you play EA Sports college football and you do the creative coach and you can pick what you want. You can pick the motivator. You can pick the strategist, the builder. Kenny's the builder. Building something special at Arizona State. Shaman, again, saying been at 3-4 schools. He's the greatest I've ever had.
Shaman, is Kenny leaving?
Players want to play for Kenny Dillingham. Assistants want to coach for Kenny Dillingham. And fans want to show up to see the teams that Kenny Dillingham builds and coaches. It's just how it is. And lucky for you guys, we actually have one of the newest Arizona State Sun Devils, Mason Marden, part of that class of 2026 early signing class for Arizona State. We got the chance to talk to him about his decision, why he wanted to come to Arizona State, what potentially his role could be for this Arizona State defense. We're going to get to that, ASU Hoops, and wrap up this conversation on the other side of our second break. Look, the 2025 college football regular season was a roller coaster, and that's why our friends over at Three Amigos made that roller coaster fun. Didn't matter if we were going up with wins or down with losses, because around here we cheer hard, we celebrate harder, and we always keep it local. That's why Three Amigos Tequila is a staple for Arizona fans. Family owned right here in the Valley, founded in 1939 and crafted in Mexico with 100% Blue Weber agave. It's award-winning for a reason. And it really doesn't matter the time of day that you want to start drinking with our friends over at Three Amigos. You could start it in the morning with maybe a tequila sunrise or a Bloody Maria. And by the end of the day, maybe just sip on a nice tequila soda. Our friends over at Three Amigos, they got something for everybody. So this season, tailgate, toast, and celebrate with the Valley's favorite tequila, Three Amigos. Guys, this weekend, next weekend, the week after, does not matter. If you guys are looking for a staycation or maybe with the holiday season around and you don't want the in-laws or you don't want grandma and grandpa staying with you, well, put them up nice at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, any of their locations, Vequiva, Lone Butte, Wild Horse Pass, Santan Mountain, to experience the best that the Valley has to offer. My personal favorite thing about our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, aside from the fact that we do a bunch of PHNX events over at Wild Horse Pass, is the fact that they've got something for everybody. And if you're going for a staycation, you're going with the fam, you're going with some friends, well, you can't always be on the same page with everybody, but that's okay, because if you want to go hang out by the jacuzzi or the pool, you could do that. If you got some friends that want to go have a nice steak dinner, well, they could do that. Maybe you could all meet up at the sports book or the gaming floor afterwards. They've got something for everybody. And something you always got to remember is you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Make sure you visit playatgila.com for more details. Hit that like button again, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. And if you are a part of the Supporters Club and you got that little badge next to your name, do us a solid. Let's see those Kenny Dillingham emojis in the chat, because I know our boy Shane Dieffenbach, the Deli Man, he is absolutely amped to be able to use. I don't know if it's still the Dilly emoji in there. It is still the Dilly emoji. I know he is super excited. He's got a graphic that has been cooked up that hopefully we get to use here in just a few short days on social. But let's go ahead, spam that Kenny emoji. I think it's easily my favorite emoji that we have here. And if you want to join the Supporters Club, Shane, it's super easy. It's what, $5 a month?
$5 a month. You not only get access to all of the fun custom emojis, you also get access to our members only videos that get dropped pretty frequently. We have a new one coming out with the producers. That's a pretty fun one. I just put the link in the chat. Yeah, it's a great time. And you get,
Love it.
Of course, all of the custom emojis.
King Neptune in the chat saying, dude, some players are coming from families that had little money. If a player is offered $50,000 more to leave, they will. Only small percentage making the NFL. Really sucks that we have the NIL. I disagree. I think players in college football have been used and stomped on and passed over for a very, very long time. Coaches, athletic departments have been milking a cash cow for decades in college football. And now players are getting paid. Should the rules be different? Probably. Should there be a little bit more of a restriction? Yes. Should there be just point blank period, some effing guidelines? Sure. But players getting paid is not the problem with college football. It's not. They've long deserved to get paid in college football. And I know that's going to turn some people off. That's fine. You're allowed to have your opinion, and I'm allowed to have mine. Shimon in the chat says, I'll leave on this note. Kenny established a culture. He created multipliers, not dividers. That's rare to find. 1,000%. Can I tell you with 100% certainty that this contract is going to get amended in the next 24 hours? No. Can I tell you that it's going to get amended by the end of the week? I can't. But I know Chris Cartman, a Sun Devil source, reported over the weekend that it was quote-unquote close. I trust Chris Cartman's reporting 1,000%. He's done phenomenal work for decades covering Arizona State. And for Arizona State, the clock is on. Give Kenny what he needs. Give Kenny what he wants. And let Kenny cook. It's that effing simple. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And I do want to go ahead and kick it over to our interview with one of the newest Arizona State Sun Devils. That is, of course, linebacker Mason Marden, a part of that 2026 class that Sun Devil fans are going to get to see here in the next few months when spring football rolls around. Mason Marden will be an early enrollee, so he will be here for spring football. But go ahead and take a look as to why Mason Marden decided to be an Arizona State Sun Devil. Mason, we appreciate you taking some time today. Before we get too deep into the on-the-field stuff, I'm curious from your perspective, as one of the top players in Missouri, why you chose to go so far from home and join Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State.
Yeah, I'd say like the biggest aspect was, just like the family aspect of the recruiting that they've done with my, family and stuff. They did a really good job just focusing on that throughout the entire recruiting process, whether that was like, keeping in touch with my parents, keeping in touch with me, just really like focusing that aspect. All the visits coming to school and stuff were good from like, them compared to other schools, but it's just they took that extra step, I feel like. And definitely one of the biggest moments was when I was there on my official visit. My cousin had actually died, and I was there for,
Wow.
I had to go to a funeral at the same day, like right before my official visit. And they had actually taken me to my funeral, some of the coaches and stuff, and like showed up for a minute to talk to my family. So, that really stuck out to me as, taking that extra step for a recruit. And I was like, that's a huge thing, especially from like the linebackers coaches.
Yeah, 1,000%. Was AJ Cooper, the linebacker coach, obviously a big part of that and a big part of that discussion as well?
Yeah, but Coach Silver especially was the one who drove me, and I've been building a really good relationship with both of them throughout the entire recruiting process. Whether like whenever I needed to watch film and stuff, even before I was committed, they get on there with me, send me some, cut ups, kind of just tell me like where they saw me in their scheme and stuff, and just like breaking it all down with me, being very transparent about everything.
Wow, that's obviously, I mean, a very formative moment. I feel like for you, especially as it relates to kind of where you wanted to spend your next 4 years. In some of those conversations prior to your visit with Kenny Dillingham, with Brian Ward, with AJ Cooper, what were those conversations kind of like? Because we have had players and commits and signees that are, they tell these stories about Kenny Dillingham and some of the coaches on this staff. To where it's just like, man, they're going to tell you the truth at all times.
I mean, this was definitely probably one of the most transparent group or staff I've seen out of my whole recruiting process. They didn't try to like promise you anything, try to say like promise playing time or like money or stuff. Like they kind of just like set it all down like on the official visit and stuff. And even before that, they just talked about like the ways like, it's kind of like you get in there and you work hard and earn stuff the right way. And that's how I try to go on about stuff in life. I feel like everything should be earned and not just given from the get go.
1000%.
Especially with like how they saw me in their scheme and stuff and how they were planning to develop me. They were very transparent with everything. They some coaches like to just tell you everything you're just perfect at, make a visit like, oh, you're like show your highlights and stuff. But they took me in and showed me my lowlights. And that was something I really enjoyed actually, because it was like, they took the time to go through my film and show me like what I needed to improve on, which is something like I was already looking at. And so it just like inspired me to show that like, hey, here's some coaches that like actually want to like help me improve and get to like the best of my ability as a football athlete and a linebacker.
Wow. So when you did have those conversations with Brian Ward, with Kenny, with AJ Cooper, kind of about where they saw you in the system, and as a part of this defense, what did you learn from those conversations, and where did they see you and do see you in this defense?
Yeah, so I learned that it's kind of based off of like the scheme of what the 49ers run on defense, like a 4-2-5. But they like to run like a Mike linebacker more outside of the box. So they kind of want not your traditional Mike linebacker. Like you can still fit inside, but they want, playing more in space, guarding receivers and stuff, playing that like strong hook out in coverage. So that's where they, see me primarily. Because like when I first heard them talk about Mike linebacker, they said not like your traditional Mike linebacker. And then they showed me on film and kind of like went through some plays with me. I was like, oh yeah, this is like really interesting. Like that's not what I was expecting when I heard, Mike linebacker, because I'm always thinking of like the inside, just like fit run type of person.
Yeah, 1000%. Especially you bring up the 49ers, you think of a Mike linebacker, you're talking Patrick Willis in the heart of that 4-3 defense, just kind of going nuts. So yeah, I feel like not just that, but like the evolution of your position specifically, not just at the high school level, the college level, the pro level, you do have to be a little bit more athletic and versatile now to fit into some of these defenses. Do you feel like you're that type of player that can be a 3-down linebacker in this style defense?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing for me is I've always wanted to play in like a 4-2-5, be playing more in space and stuff. I didn't want to be in like more of a set that was like condensed, maybe like a 3-4 and be one of those two inside backers that's not going to go play out in that space as much.
Yeah.
I want to be like those guys that has to go out, play in space, guard receivers, running backs, because like that's most of the things I try to like target in my game, and just be as versatile as I can possibly be. Like be able to blitz, be able to play in coverage, maybe spy a quarterback. I just want to be the most technical linebacker I can be and grow into that at Arizona State.
1000%. We were obviously talking about your commitment to Arizona State. Somebody in Missouri, was the fact that this was almost like a completely different place than where you're from at all intriguing and interesting, and maybe played a role in your decision?
It was definitely interesting. The weather, big swish. Like it gets hot in St. Louis, like humidity wise, but it's just like not having to deal with the cold. I definitely say is a very good thing. Like when I came back down for like visits after I was committed in like October and stuff, like feeling that nice 70 degrees and stuff, one of the best feelings I've ever had. Like it's like, wow, I've never been in a November where it's not like 30, 20 degrees. Like about a week ago, it's already been snowing here. We've got a day off school for snow, and just like having that like full warmthness the whole time is I definitely like that change, and kind of just like the whole atmosphere of like the Tempe campus and stuff. It's a different feel than how it is in St. Louis in the Midwest.
Yeah, 1000%. You're not getting snow days out here in Tempe anytime soon. Obviously, looking at this Arizona State defense over the course of the last couple seasons, talking again about that 4-2-5. Look at a couple of those linebackers that have been in this system and really excelled. Keyshawn Elliott, Jordan Crook. While you were on your visit, were you able to have any conversations with them and just kind of see how they feel as two transfers, people that didn't, initially start off their college career at Arizona State?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of, took me under my wing my first visit and stuff and told me about like how they first came on. The coaches were same thing, very transparent with them and like coached them up and stuff. Kind of like put them in the best situations on the field to go make plays. Like, maybe one of them is more of a blitzer and stuff. Look, Kirk loves to blitz off the edge, so they put him in the best position to be able to go do that. And like also they have them both playing in pass and stuff. But the biggest thing that I've both seen them on teach tape and stuff, and they're smart and they're very vocal. So like whenever like I go and watch their film, they're vocal players. Like they get their defense set, but they come with energy and stuff, and that's something I really liked and showed out on their film.
How would you describe your game? Obviously, there are maybe not a lot of Arizona State fans that tend to watch Missouri high school football. So for those of us that, or this fan base that hasn't seen your game, how would you describe it?
I'd say Violent and controlling. That's the best two words I could put out there. Like I feel like sometimes on my film you can see times where I'm trying to get the defense in place and stuff, and just like showing violence on the field. I always like adding the extra bit of on a tackle. Even when I'm on offense, I'm always trying to like get a pancake or just get an extra block. Like that knack is something I feel like I've grown up with through football, and like it's just stuck with me.
You said on offense too. Is there any chance, any conversation you get maybe some trick plays for Mason Marden when he gets to Tempe?
I mean, I'm probably not, but that would be something I'd love to do. Maybe at like a wildcat thing at the 1 yard line. I've seen some other schools like Jacob Rodriguez, they've done that. And if the opportunity comes up, believe me, I'm getting that touchdown. I'm getting the first down, whatever they need, because I've always loved playing both sides of the ball.
I love that, man. Look, last couple questions, and we'll get you out of here. In terms of leadership, you're somebody that set the record for tackles at your high school. Obviously, a staple player in the state of Missouri on the defensive side of the ball. In terms of leading, how are you as a leader? Are you a vocal leader, or are you somebody that it maybe leads by example, that leads on the field? You let your actions speak for you. How do you lead your team?
I'd say I'm definitely more of a vocal leader. Like I like always adding in something like speaking about things, getting my teammates ready for stuff, especially the other linebackers that I'm with, helping them develop their game, watch film. I'm like, if they ever need something extra, learn the playbook, I'll always sit down, take some time with them, watch over the playbook. Or like, let's say we have a game coming up, they're not sure about something. I'll sit down 30 minutes, whatever they need, just to go over some plays so they know their alignment, their assignment, like everything they need to do to play fast and play successful. Same thing with like, pre-practice and stuff. I try to always like, show up a little early, get everyone vocal at the start of practice, and just like keeping people like on track, like when they need to be. But obviously like off the field, like have fun with your teammates and stuff, build that relationship. But it's like, when you do lock in, you got to lock in. So
Mason, I know you signed as a part of early signing period. Is your plan to be here for spring football when it does roll around?
Yeah, so I enroll in January. I'll be there. January 10th, I move in. January 12th, I start classes. So, I'm excited there. Already, like, getting, like, the room and stuff set up. Like, they're going to send more information in the next couple of weeks. But I'm excited to just get to work, get in the weight room, all that. I can't wait.
I know the fan base is super excited. Speaking of the fan base, Mason, before we get you out of here, what would your message to Sun Devil Nation be ahead of the start of your collegiate career here at Arizona State?
I'm going to give it my all every play on and off the field, and just show out for Arizona State.
Love it. Mason Marden, one of the newest linebackers for your Arizona State Sun Devils. Mason, we appreciate you taking the time today, man.
Thank you so much.
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button again, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. It was awesome getting the chance to talk to Mason a little bit over the weekend about his plans at Arizona State, what he hopes to accomplish here. Somebody that I think is really going to have an opportunity to succeed and get on the field relatively early in his time at Arizona State, especially when you kind of look at the future of the linebacker position here in Tempe. Without Jordan Crook and Keyshawn Elliott in 2026, both of those guys likely to be on NFL rosters at that point in time with no eligibility left. And you look at that linebacker room again, not just Mason Marden, but of course, Oscar Aguilar as well, a part of that 2026 class for Arizona State at the linebacker position. So excited to get to that. I know, again, there's still some fans and people in the chat that want to talk about the Kenny Dillingham stuff. And guess what? We're going to be talking about the Kenny Dillingham stuff probably all week long. For Michigan fans, for Oregon fans, for everybody in the chat, guess what? Kenny Dillingham scheduled to speak Tuesday morning following Arizona State practice. So we will have all of those updates for you guys right here on the PHNX Sun Devils show. Also on social, you can follow us at PHNX_Sun Devils, not just on X, but on Instagram as well. But we started the show talking a little bit about, hey, there's some other sports succeeding at Arizona State. And Shane, well, I'll be damned. One of them is Arizona State men's basketball pulling off an improbable comeback victory over Santa Clara to get another win for, are we still calling them Bobby Hurley's Arizona State men's basketball team, even despite the ejection? Yeah.
Shut up, dude.
I was just asking, were they his team last night? Or I was just,
yes.
Yes. Okay. Still Bobby Hurley's
He built
Arizona
the team.
State.
He got them fired up by getting tossed. It was fantastic.
He did. He absolutely did. 82-79, a big comeback victory for the Arizona State Sun Devils. Only 5 votes, though, for this team in the AP Top 25.
That's the right amount of votes.
What about for the women's team?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
1 vote.
Insane.
For Molly Miller's 12-0 Arizona State women's basketball team. Just throwing that out there. Absolutely ridiculous. One hell of a game, though, from the Arizona State Sun Devils with Bobby Hurley getting ejected. I mean, you got to tip your cap to the players and the rest of that coaching staff to be able to compose themselves and feed off of kind of that energy of the ejection to find a way to claw back into that game. I do want to get to Love the Play, brought to you by our friends over at Arizona Lottery. Make sure you play and gift today, Dilly Man.
Yeah, do you want to hit a quick break before we go there?
You're right. We can. Let's go ahead. I forgot. We got to hit a quick break. We're going to finish the ASU Hoops discussion on the other side of our final break. Look, it was a wild week right here in the Valley. Of course, the Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham stuff. I know the Suns had a massive game just the other day. So if you want to kick back, you want to relax, well, give our friends over at Pure Edibles a try. Pure gummies are not covered in sugar like all of their competitors, but don't get it twisted here. They don't taste like the traditional weed gummies that just kind of linger. The taste lingers in your mouth, and it's just, that's not the case with our friends over at Pure Edibles. It tastes like candy, to be quite honest with you, because Pure is a full-fledged candy company offering gummies. They've got Kicks, which are their version of Starburst, Chews, soft candies like caramel, and then hard candies as well. And Pure effects are clearly listed on each tin, so you know exactly what effects you guys can expect. And hey, if you're somebody that maybe doesn't want to indulge with the uplifting effects, maybe give the sleep support gummies a try. Speaking firsthand, they work. Make sure you go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. Look, I want to take some time to tell you about our friends over at Mountain America Credit Union, especially their My Style checking account, because look, everybody needs a checking account. So why not have one that has built-in benefits and perks just for you? And if the My Style checking account over at Mountain America Credit Union isn't enough for you to get on board, well, just take a listen as to what they're doing for the community, specifically those local student athletes, providing $20,000 in scholarships to local student athletes each year. Plus, they donated $250 to support university athletics for every single field goal made this 2025 season. Mountain America, of course, dedicated to guiding members and communities forward. Make sure you learn more at macu.com/ASU, insured by NCUA. Terms, conditions, and exclusions. Loans on approved credit. All right, we're back. No more breaks, I promise, for JJB and all the other Hoops fans in the chat. It is time now for Love the Play. Dilly Man, brought to you by our friends over at Arizona Lottery. Make sure you play and gift today. I feel like for me, it's kind of got to be the ejection.
Oh.
No, I think it might be, man. I think my Love the Play is the ejection for me.
Yeah. I just like what he said. I can't say it on the program, but just go read his lips. It's pretty awesome. He calls the ref something. The ejection was fun. It would be the ejection for me if it came after halftime, but then they had to go regroup and talk. It wasn't like an immediate thing.
Yeah.
My Love the Play is the Pig Johnson steal and one in transition that I think took the lead, or maybe cut like one or tied it. He's so awesome, man. Second half Pig Johnson. You got Michael Jordan, LeBron James, second half Pig Johnson. Those are my top 3 basketball players of all time. No, you know what? Second half Pig Johnson's number 2 after LeBron's antics last night.
There you go.
Yeah, the Pig Johnson and one near the end of the game. Yes, Ben Cheesy. That is what I'm talking about. That is my Love to Play presented by Arizona Lottery. I mean, he's so damn fun. He reads passing lanes. As he said, he plays those dog minutes. Shit, guys. If he keeps doing this, I might have to push to get a Pig Johnson t-shirt.
Is this, in terms of like just ASU hoops in general for men's basketball, when was the last time we saw a team like that had multiple guys? And I'm not going to say multiple guys that can go for like 25 a night, but I don't remember a team recently under Bobby Hurley where there is so much sharing the basketball, and there is so many different guys that you look at the stat sheet at the end of the night, and it's like double digits, double digits, double digits. Like, it feels like they're sharing the rock more than we've seen from a Bobby Hurley team.
Well, I think it's the first time since Remy Martin where you've had a true point guard as your starting point guard.
I feel like Frankie was a true point.
No, he was not.
You don't think so?
Not at all.
He's not. I mean,
Frankie was not a point guard.
He's a different kind of point guard, but I still think he was a true point guard.
I don't know. He was not. He didn't command the game the way a true point guard does. And Mo Odom commands the game. And not only he commands the game, he commands the team. King Neptune says Michigan beats the shit out of this team. like let's not get it twisted. They're not a top 10 team. But they are definitely not the worst team in the Big 12.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah, this is a team right now 9-2. At the time, they had beaten an 8-2 Santa Clara team to be able to come back. Let's go ahead, get to By the Numbers, presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. The only number that matters is that final score. Sun Devils coming out on top 82-79. The Sun Devils shooting 55% from the floor to just 42% for Santa Clara from three-point land, an astounding 48% for the Devils, 34% for the Broncos. And rebounds, dead even at 31 apiece, but the Sun Devils had the edge when it came to running up and down that court with fast break points, 17-6 in favor of Mo Odom's squad. And then in terms of sharing the rock, 5-1 in favor of the Devils. Shane, this Arizona State team, man, they continue to rock and roll. In all honesty, the assist numbers, I think you were looking for blocks, Shane. The assist numbers were 20 in favor of Arizona State, 16.
5-1 would be nuts.
There you go.
Yeah,
I was like, it does not feel...
Yeah. Blocks were 5-1. Assists were pretty even.
Sorry. Comment in the chat made me laugh. This team, they're going to have a test on Wednesday. UCLA. They're going to have a real test, I think, for the first time since Gonzaga, where you go back and you're like, okay, can this team do it? Because everybody all year talks about Bobby Hurley, non-con, what they do. This is an opportunity. It is an opportunity, a test, a challenge, whatever you want to call it, for Mo Odom, for all of these guys on this team, because you're about to walk into conference play in the most vicious college basketball conference that there is, with Kansas, Arizona, Houston, Iowa State. The list goes on and on, which is kind of juggernauts in this conference. A win over UCLA on Wednesday, Shane, would have me feeling pretty good about where this team is at going into conference play.
Yep. A win at UCLA as well. So, yeah. I just don't know what the ceiling is for this team. It's hard for me to get uber excited about this team making the tournament before conference play. But regardless, they're fun to cheer for. They are a good team to watch. It does not hurt to watch. They play ethical hoops. They have 3 guys that can go crazy any given night, and maybe 4 if you throw Bryce Ford in there. Marcus Adams Jr. is finding his shot. Gerbevich is finding his shot. Santiago Truitt plays hard every night. You really just need to see if they can out-physical teams, which is the main concern I have. They didn't look like they were getting out-physicaled against a team like USC, which is huge because that's pretty close to what the physicalness is going to be in the Big 12. You just got to temper your expectations until we get to conference play. But yeah, if they beat UCLA and they beat them well, there's some more excitement going into Big 12 play.
Vince Easy in the chat, even 10th in the Big 12 would be far beyond where anyone thought they'd be this year.
Yep.
I think that's fair.
100%.
That's 1,000% fair. Look,
USC is 10-1, and they don't have their best player, who is supposedly coming back soon, Elijah Arenas.
8:30 p.m. tip on Wednesday. So get ready. Get ready for some Pac-12 after dark.
There's a chance we do a post-game show for that game.
A chance
if the Kenny stuff calms down.
We'll see.
We could also double dip on Wednesday.
We could. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. Fair?
Chat, should we double dip?
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review again wherever you get your podcasts. A reminder, we'll be back right here, 1 p.m. start time Arizona State has bowl practice in the morning. Kenny Dillingham speaks to the media. So we will definitely hear from him and have all of that for you guys and more.
Chad, I'm teasing. There's a chance that I might just straight up ask Kenny tomorrow if he's going to coach here next year, just to get everyone to shut the hell up,
just to see what happens.
But I also don't want to ruin his leverage, so we'll see how I feel tomorrow.
Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. If you want to follow along with all things Arizona State, make sure you give the show a follow on social at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow the Dilly Man at Shane Dief.
Speculating as always.
And we'll see you guys on Tuesday. In the meantime, go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.